There are many reasons to want to start a garden. Maybe you want to save money on vegetables. Maybe you're concerned about pesticides. Maybe you're like me and you just like watching things grow and geeking out about it. Welcome back, casual gardeners. This is part 11 of the Frequently Asked Questions series, in which we answer the question, how do I start a garden from scratch? By the end of this video, you should know where to put your garden, how to prepare the ground, what to plant first, and how to avoid some common beginner mistakes that make people quit gardening. But before we get stuck in, please make sure you've liked and subscribed. Location, location, location. Plants can't uproot themselves and move somewhere else if conditions aren't ideal in the spot they're in. So we need to plan our gardens so that we're planting things in a spot they can do well in. Most vegetables and fruits are going to need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight. Watch your intended location and notice where and when do shadows fall, and how do the surrounding structures impact how much sun that location gets. How do trees or shrubberies change things in the afternoon? If you're growing in a hot climate, afternoon shade isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can still grow some vegetables even if you don't have full sun. I did a whole gardening fact video about that already. You're going to need water access. It's easy to forget to water our gardens, and the harder it is to water that garden, the easier it will be for you to forget. So choose a location with good water access, or be prepared to improve your water access in that location. Convenience is important. I cannot stress this enough. Make the things you want to do easy to do. Locate your garden where it's easy to get to and easy to work in. If you don't have a good time working in your garden, you're going to be even more likely to put it off. Start small, especially if you're watching YouTube videos, and I know you're watching at least one. You're going to be tempted to jump straight from no garden at all to a sprawling market garden. Starting too big is the #1 beginner mistake. For a manageable beginner garden, consider starting with just a 4-foot by 8-foot bed, or even just a few large containers on your patio. If it turns out that you love gardening, you can always expand your garden. Clearing the space. Nature abhors a vacuum. She's also not too keen about bare soil. So if you're starting a fresh garden, you're probably starting it where there's already something growing. Option 1, you can dig it up and remove it. This is most common if you're putting your garden where there is already a lawn. And in most parts of America, there's going to be a lawn almost anywhere. You start by cutting your sod, carting it off somewhere, and then you're going to want to loosen and amend the soil that was underneath, because unfortunately, by removing that top layer, you've actually scooped away most of the good stuff. So I've mostly done this with flower beds, but you can do this if you're going to be building a raised bed on top of the area as well, because I know most common sod grasses they're not going to come back very well from that, but there are a lot of weedy grasses that will grow into sod, and we might not even know they're there, that will come up through 2 or 3 feet of soil sometimes. So stripping that top layer off can sometimes be a preferable option if you don't want to do a lot of weeding. But then you've got option number 2, smother it all in place. Start by laying it down cardboard. Several layers of cardboard are better than one, because there's always going to be chinks in your cardboard. Wet it thoroughly, and then you're going to want to add at least 1 layer of soil and compost on top of that. You can do multiple layers. This goes by a couple of different names. I think currently it's most commonly called no-till gardening or no-dig gardening, but prior to that it was also called lasagna gardening, because you're putting in layers like lasagna. If you do this method, you're going to want to wait a few weeks before you plant into that bed, because you do have that barrier of cardboard there. The cardboard will break down faster if you keep it moist, and remember to remove all the entirely too much tape from the cardboard, because that will not break down. This method is going to be a lot less work because you don't have to cart a bunch of heavy stuff around. But on the other hand, there are a lot of perennials that will survive the smothering and come up through your garden bed. So you're looking at years to get that fully weeded out. You can also use this no-dig method when you're putting in raised beds like I did in my garden. And that is actually what I did here. And I actually did see a lot of perennial weeds come up in my beds. You're going to want to improve your soil. Gardening Fact 10, the one right before this, is all about soil improvement, so we're just going to kind of outline things in this one. All soil benefits from the addition of organic matter. We don't even have to think about what type of soil you have. You're going to want to add organic matter to it. The best organic matter to add is going to be compost or composted manure. And the reason that's best is that it's already broken down and ready to incorporate into your soil. Adding 1 to 3 inches of compost per year should be adequate for most soils. Adding too much compost can actually lead to problems down the road. So don't go crazy. And just keep adding that compost or composted manure to your garden plot every single year. It'll bring in nutrients, it'll bring in organic matter. Your soil will gradually improve over time. Avoid the urge to add fertilizers specifically until you've had your soil tested, because sometimes you can wind up with too much of a good thing. Decide what to grow. If I had just one rule for deciding what to plant, my rule would be grow what you will eat. For example, I love to look at eggplants. I love to grow eggplants. I think they're beautiful plants. They look amazing in a garden. They're photogenic as all get out. I get a little thrill when I see them in a gardening YouTube video, but I don't eat eggplants. So you're not going to see any eggplants in my garden. I mean, I'll eat them sometimes at a restaurant. I just don't like preparing them. It's a pain in the butt. So maybe you love eggplants. You should plant eggplants. I should not. Now, if you're a beginner gardener, my top picks are going to include lettuce, radishes, green beans, zucchini, cherry tomatoes, and peas. These are all going to be really easy plants to start out with. They'll get you running without a lot of stumbling. Find the plants that work for you and make those your staple crops. If you love experimenting with new crops, and I know I do, just add 1 or 2 new crops a year. That way, if you have a failure, that sting of failure is going to be tempered by the success from your staple crops. You don't have to have just a really awful year in your garden. I'm not saying you won't have an awful year, but you'll be less likely to. Should you do seeds or transplants? Starting from seeds is my favorite. I got a bunch of seedlings right here that I started from seed. You have a lot better selection and you can save a bunch of money starting from seeds. But there are a few reasons you might want to start with some transplants. They're going to take up less space in your home. I have a massive shelf here. It's full of seedlings. A lot of people are going to find that hard to do in their home. And if you're just starting out, you probably don't have a big, gorgeous greenhouse or even a greenhouse like this. Transplants are going to be less intimidating for a beginner gardener. And if you go with transplants up front, you can work on learning a few gardening skills your first year instead of trying to learn all of the gardening skills your first year. Some good plants to start with as transplants are going to be tomatoes, peppers, and most of the herbs. So a lot of the herbs can be difficult to start from seed. I recommend going to a real nursery, not a big box store, for your transplants. They might be a little cheaper at a big box store, but they're also more likely to be carrying diseases and give you that failure the first year in your garden. I remember my first year growing tomatoes. I bought several tomato plants at Home Depot. This is not a criticism of Home Depot. They can't help it. But one of my tomato plants brought a disease into my garden, and I had to deal with that my first year with tomatoes, and it was sad. Nurseries are less likely, they're not perfect, but they're less likely to sell you a diseased plant. Now, regardless of being a beginner gardener, there are some plants you're just going to want to start from seeds. Carrots, radishes, lettuce, beans, and peas are all plants that you're better off starting from seeds. Carrots and radishes are root crops. Root crops just generally need to be started from seeds. But I mean, I've got some radishes right here that I'm going to be transplanting, and they're going to be fine. On the other hand, some plants are just so easy to start from seed that you might as well just save your money and do it. Lettuce and peas are an example of those. If you buy pea starts, you've just wasted a lot of time and money, because the starts you can buy are only like a week or two old. You're not getting a big jump start, and peas grow so fast, you don't need a jump start. Whatever you're going to do, pick the strategy that works for you. All right, so let's talk about what to do on planting day. Make sure you're following the recommendations on the seed packets or the transplant labels. If you are having doubts about when to put your crops into the ground, find a good nursery and talk to the people at the nursery about it. They're going to have recommendations that are specific to your local climate, and they're going to have a lot of experience answering that particular question. YouTube videos are going to be awesome for an overview, but unless you're growing in Logan, Utah, you're not going to get the great planting times for your garden from my video. Spacing is important. Crowded plants can be more susceptible to diseases. They're going to compete with each other for nutrients. You're just going to get a lower yield overall. Most seed packets and transplant labels are going to have recommendations about spacing. Always water everything deeply after transplanting or sowing your seeds. That deep watering is going to help your seeds make better contact with the soil, so you'll get better germination. Or if you're doing transplants, you're going to clear out some air pockets in the soil from digging around in there and help the roots penetrate into their new home. Garden maintenance. Check on your garden every day. Small problems become bigger problems over time, and small problems are easier to deal with than bigger problems. So the earlier you can catch a weed or a pest problem or a plant disease in your garden, the easier it is to deal with it. Your garden is going to need consistent watering. When you check for moisture levels in your soil, poke your finger down in there. You want to check at least 2 inches deep for moisture. If it's dry at the surface but moist 2 inches deep, you probably don't have to water. Feed occasionally. Some crops, like leafy greens like lettuce and spinach, or like hungry plants like cherry tomatoes, are going to need to have a little bit of at least nitrogen added at some point in the growing season. Harvesting regularly can actually make your garden perform better. Some plants, like lettuce and I think zucchinis, are going to produce more food for you if you pick them pretty regularly and don't let them get too big. If you let your zucchinis, for example, grow bigger on the vine, the zucchini is going to put all its energy into maturing that one zucchini instead of starting a few more. Roll with the punches. Most gardeners, like myself, on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, we're going to be focused on showing you our successes and maybe not so much our failures. The reason for this is we're probably going to be a little bit concerned that letting you see our failures is going to undermine our credibility as gardening gurus. You don't want to take advice from somebody who's got a garden full of fail. I think this creates false expectations about what a garden should look like. It's like the gardening equivalent of body dysmorphia. You're going to have plants fail. You're going to have surprises, and not always bad ones. There's a lot of science in gardening, but there are also so many variables that sometimes it's going to feel more like voodoo. Every season in your garden is going to bring new lessons, new challenges, and new successes. Starting a garden from scratch can be daunting. There's a lot to consider. There's a lot to do, and if you're like me, there's an awful lot to procrastinate. Just let go of any expectation for perfection and get started. Just take it a step at a time. If you're a beginning gardener just getting started, I'm excited for you, and I'm honored that my video gets to be in the set of videos you're watching to get started. Welcome to gardening. Make sure you like and subscribe on your way out so you can help me quit my crappy day job and spend more hours in my garden. Thank you so much for joining me here in my garden. I hope you have a wonderful time in your own.